Good morning. Hope this morning finds you well. For devotional thought today, we're continuing in Psalm 23. On Monday, looked at verses 1 through 3. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And today, continuing with verse 4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now, this is a verse that is of such tremendous power because it draws us to think of ultimate things. But it also is a verse that some people might think a bit morbid, something that we don't really want to think about. We tend to prefer to ignore death, to sanitize death, to avoid it. And so to read this verse and think about these words, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, can strike us as a bit pessimistic. But it is drawing us to ultimate reality, and ultimate reality that applies to all of us. And really, it's taking the most extreme example. There are a lot of things in life that we might fear, losing your job, losing other relationships, uh, making some kind of a mistake, being mistreated, and so on. Uh, but of course, the uh, great fear that hangs there is the fear of death, and it is tremendous comfort to be able to say these words and to think that even against that greatest looming fear that we must face, that we need not fear if God is with us. That the darkest of all fears is disarmed by the power of God. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And if through the valley of the shadow of death, uh, how much more through the more ordinary trials that we may have to face regularly, and even some of the extraordinary ones that hit us. If God is with us, we need fear nothing. And once again, the shepherd image is there. It's not just for you are with me, but it goes on to say, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So the instruments of the shepherd's trade, point to God's protecting role, his preserving role, that he watches over his people and protects them, and he watches over them in any evil, in any darkness, even in the valley of the shadow of death. And so we can be comforted and courage no matter what we may face, not because of who we are, but because of who is with us. And so, whatever you are going through today, I hope that you can draw comfort from the words of this psalm, from the promise of God to be with you, the promise of the Lord to never leave you nor forsake you, but that like a shepherd, he will watch over you.